trying to get that one farm done. Plowing today, and the wind's kind of picked up. It's shifted out of the north, so we were 90 plus degrees the last 2 days. It's supposed to be a lot less today, but we got a north wind, and it's really hazy. You know, it almost looks like it was foggy. I don't know. We had a little bit of dirt blow yesterday, but not a ton. But like overnight, you wake up and it's like real hazy in the sky. I don't know how well you see that, but it's kind of a yucky start to the day. One thing that happened yesterday when I was coming home, when the RPMs revved up, the air filter said it was clogged. So that happens sometimes. I've been plowing a lot with the dust kind of just following me, and so we're sucking in. I know we're sucking in a lot of dust, so I'm gonna pop the hood here and get that filter, try to clean out as much of that dirt as we can. Okay, air filters are clean. Air filter, you clean the outside one, but you don't clean the inside one. You just replace that one. If you're getting that one dirty, the inside one dirty, then you need to check your outside one, because there probably is damage on that one. So getting folded up here and hoping for a good day today. Okay, this field is done. Just remember, this is a cutoff row and these are point rows. So I'm cutting off of point rows. There's what you get. Got this field done. This is ready for planting in a month, over a month, with some rain, and probably will have to spray weeds, but definitely will need the rain. This wheat looks really healthy. I mean, there's lots of seeds on this, but just right here, definitely this would be like fertilizer burn, because I run the sprayer down this way, and as I'm turning, well, anyways, I shut it down and then I come back this way, and so some of this got double sprayed. And anyway, so I'm pretty sure that's some more fertilizer burn. I've got this one disc here. It's a little tight, so that one doesn't spin any extra. Spin some of these others, they spin free a little bit on their own. This one, you can kind of hear it squeaking. It's got a little bit of play, so I just need to make sure I watch this one, because that probably is going to lock down sometime soon. Okay, I'm no agronomist, person that specializes in plants, but yeah. So here's a little quiz for you. Or what we call these. We call this a mustard. You see this, real pretty flower, but they get in the wheat, and that chemical I sprayed over the wheat earlier should kill that and keep that from coming up. But you see a lot of pretty yellow flowers like that. It's a weed. Sometimes you see people that buy weeds from Lowe's, and they plant them on purpose, like morning glory. Anyways. This would be oats. We call wild oats. Seeds all on one side of the seed head. I think that's mostly here. I think but Samuel calls this rescue grass. It's hard to zoom in on that. Rescue grass. But again, like when it's all green and not seeded out, really hard to identify it, at least for me, when the seed head gives it away. Because you've got, obviously you can tell that's different. Like that's wheat and oats look completely different. But if you look down, like this is an oat plant right in front, and man, you can't hardly even tell the difference. Or at least I can't. Again, not an expert, just a farmer. So if you farm or do much, this will be obvious to you. But there are kind of two main types of plants. There's broadleafs and there's grassy plants. And so chemicals work in different modes of action. And some work on broadleafs, some work only on grasses, but some can do both. Well, like Ally, or that chemical I sprayed over the wheat, it was good on broadleafs, like this mustard, the lettuce, different things that come up during that time. But it doesn't touch the grasses at all. Well, then there's some weeds that will kill grasses. thing like Roundup should kill anything. The problem is we get weeds that are resistant to chemicals. And so we have these other kinds of chemicals, or people are plowing a lot more now because we've got some weeds that are resistant to multiple modes of action and many modes of action, meaning this class of chemical doesn't touch it. This one doesn't either, nor this one, nor this one. So it's kind of like there's nothing that really kills it unless you put like an extreme amount of that chemical, and then it's not cost effective. So that's the kind of the deal. It's hard. There are some chemicals you can spray over wheat to kill some of those the grassy weeds you don't want, but it's pretty expensive, and we don't have a huge grass problem. You know, there's some in different fields like this, but a rotation with cotton and wheat can help with some of that. So if we were planting wheat again with these oats and things going to seed, there'd be a pretty big oat problem next year, and it'd just get worse and worse if we didn't rotate. So rotation helps with that some. Mixing up your application types, and if you're trying to kill these weeds when they're in the right growth stage, makes a huge difference too with chemical. If you wait so they're too big, if it's really dry and drouthy, we saw that last year, that stuff just didn't die very fast or well. So that's kind of the challenge, is what chemical works for the weeds you have, and then trying to time the application up right so that you actually do get the kill that you want. Because I mean, the chemicals are expensive. You want to make sure that when you go over the field, it works. And then if you plow, you want to make sure that your plow's set right, that you plow it up, that you kill stuff. Because if you spend the diesel and stuff to go across the field to plow, and you don't plow deep enough, or your sweeps are worn out, or whatever you're doing, then you've wasted the diesel and the time to do that. So those are a few of the challenges here. Last thing I'm about to get in the tractor. This was scraped ground, and so it was hard anyways, but there's a good example of an air pocket that would be terrible to plant into. The planter would just bounce around on some of this stuff, and for sure there would be right here. See, there's a cavity there. I got my whole hand. Definitely would not have good soil contact for that seed. So that's kind of shows you why I'm doing what I'm doing with this second pass. I've seen these green patches from the road, and wasn't sure what they were. I thought they were this weed called false mesquites, or but then as I think they may be actually possession vines. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what those are. I walked out to another batch here. Same weed, false mesquites. Well, we called them false mesquites before. We didn't know what they were called. They look like little mesquite plants, and you can't kill them with chemical, and plowing them doesn't kill them either. Awesome fun. They're recent Roundup and dicamba didn't kill them, but they call them false mesquites because they look like mesquites. But in training this spring, they call them hog potato, and they've got like a tuber down in the soil that you got to get down like maybe a foot to get it out. So we don't plow that deep. So if you don't, you'll spread them around the field. So don't try to plow them. We're gonna try a chemical that they use on mesquite weeds, like woody plants. I've heard that might do it. So it's not that. I guess that's a good thing. That stuff I think dies with Roundup. I'll get back to you on what its name is, but I don't recognize it. It's not possession vines. It's not false hog potato. It is something else. All right, so I texted my buddy Samuel about that weed, and he asked his weed guy, and this stuff is called alkali sida, or alkali sida, or alkali mallow. What else was they called it? White. I think like another common name could be called white weed, maybe. I think it produces a white flower. I don't know. Haven't seen it much, but we've got some pieces of it. So hopefully it's not resistant. But I was going through this section and I saw one that is a pain. See that? Looks like mesquite. And it's got a tuber down there. But this field, a little weedier than I anticipated. None of the other ones have really had any weeds come up, but this one has. You know, my farm, I just finished the Vision 320 and it was pretty clean. There's some Johnson grass out there. That's a grass that we're starting to have some residuals to round, some resistance to Roundup. And so I'm gonna go out and spot spray with a four-wheeler with a more concentrated mix of that, and I hope to get that under control because that's becoming an issue. You get the scraper unhooked to get the sprayer back on, change the nozzles back to broadcast spraying, and get some spraying knocked out. You probably don't appreciate this or notice as big a difference as I do. That windshield wiper's right in the way, but man, it is a drastic difference there. There's trees all the way around the border. All things you see left are the scrap metal that some will get buried, and then some of that stuff back behind we will take to the scrap yard, but he's getting it done. Pit is almost done. He's digging one more. He's got some concrete to get in and then some old barbed wire. So I'm here. I'm going to try to get that barbed wire out and to where he needs it, so that stuff doesn't get caught up around his tracks. I'm going to stay in the cab today. There's been bees out there. Not interested. There's been snakes out there, not interested. Got my snake boots on. Told him, I was like, she said, you should take your snake boots. I said, I don't plan on getting out. She's like, well, you might have to get out. So I thought, well, I got them, I guess I'll use them. So here's to hoping I can do everything I need to do from right in here and be on my way. Situated along the pit so he can push it in, and then I've got all of our scrap metal here, and we'll just have to take this to the scrap yard at some point. He's digging one last pit to get the rest of the concrete and other stuff in there, and then he'll be done. Look at the change of this soil here. That dark, wet clay, and then now he's down into this kind of caliche layer. It's crazy. It's totally different and completely dry looking. I mean, maybe there's some moisture in there, I don't know, but pretty wild. Well, that's going to be it for me today. I've got baseball, my younger two boys, baseball game that I'm coaching, and then I've also got a school board meeting tonight. So busy evening. So I want to get home. Emily's parents came to visit us for the weekend and watch the boys, mostly to watch the boys, and then we just so happened to live with our boys. But so they're here. I'm gonna go see them, and then yeah. So I'll wrap the video up here. Well, thanks again, guys, for watching. We appreciate your support. If you're gonna farm it.